Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Max Potential Habits podcast. If this is your first time here, it is your place to learn habits that will help you optimize your life and your business. Today, we have on an incredible guest who I actually got to meet at a Brendan Burchard event. It was my very first event when I stepped into coaching after I finished grad school, and I was like, okay, here we go. I'm going to be a coach. And Anthony Trucks got on stage and I took mad notes and I was like, this guy is awesome. And little did I know at the time he'd be coming on my show to join me for my podcast. So really cool.
Yeah, man. It's how life works amazing like that.
Doesn't it? I love it.
Put yourself in place for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great. So, if you don't know Anthony yet, you're going to after this podcast. He is the founder of Identity Shift. He is a former NFL player, an American Ninja Warrior. Are you kidding? This is cool.
I wore the shirt today on accident.
I love it. Speaker, author, coach, and family man. And just a high vibe guy who brings to the table really incredible, inspirational awesomeness. And your backstory is incredible. So let's start there. Tell us about how you came to be who you are today.
This dude, well, I was born at one point, and then I came out of the stardust, and I was created. Now, I think that's how it actually worked, right? You're just born one day.
Yep, exactly.
And so for me, I think, I know it started years ago. So back in 2012, I kind of entered into this space I'm in now, like around 12, 13. But way before that, when I was born in 1983, because I'm an old man, I got some gray hairs to prove it now.
You're young.
I was put into a situation at 3 years old in 1986. My mom just gave me and my three siblings away into foster care. So I started my life where a lot of people find themselves in life, which is not feeling like you matter or you're loved or, like feeling super less than. And it really was a defeating feeling. It's my first memories of life. And I bounced around from, house to house, 5 different houses in the foster care system where I was beaten and starved and tortured and stuff. So my life started out pretty difficult. I was trying to navigate who I am, where I fit, like what's my identity. Even then I didn't know what it was called because I was a kid, but I never knew who Anthony was. Got put into a family at 6 years old, which is my family still. I was adopted at 14, but spent 8 years with this family before I kind of was adopted. And it was unique because it was an all-white family, only black guy, all-white family. So now I'm this, foster kid who doesn't fit in, like we'll call it racially with this group, but I get, weird like restaurant, statements of like, hey, table for 6, like, no, there's 7 of us because this guy's with us too. And it was just weird, just kind of my upbringing. And then at 14, I got a chance to do something which is unique for a 14-year-old to do, but I got to stand in front of a judge, in front of my real mom and say, I no longer want you to be my mom anymore, and severed parental rights and allowed me to be adopted for the first time. So like a weird emotional feel there, because it's for a lot of years, I just want to be with this person, because a lot of us have someone that we know loves us, like we want them to love us, but we don't feel the love. And this was my mom for a lot of years. And so I finally got to a chance of realization of like, no, not the best for me. It's family. It's trying to love me. I need to let them love me. And so, yeah, man, I got a chance to get adopted, played football, sucked the first time. Like I was horrible. We all try things that we suck at. Yeah. And then a lot of us, because we suck, we're like, I don't want to feel the pain of knowing I suck. So let me go find something else. And so I did that at first, but circled back to it, thankfully, and figure out how to be great at it. And, fast forward a year, I went from like this horrible player to like a star player. Fast forward 2 more years, I get a college scholarship to play football at the University of Oregon. So I'm a Duck. I get to go there. My high school sweetheart comes with me. We have a kid at 20 years old. I meet my biological dad at 21. So now I have 2 dads, but they're not gay. One's, the foster and the real. And so I have this weird dynamic of life. And then I get out of the, college and its atmosphere, we'll call it, and get a chance to play in the NFL. Play 3 years. I get hurt in my third pretty much. Played with the Bucks, Redskins, Steelers. NFL stands for not for long. And a lot of the things that you do in that world are super cutthroat. So I got out, came home, had my degree in kinesiology, opened a gym, because, it's a novel idea, an athlete who opens a gym. Whoever saw that happen before? And so I had my degree in kinesiology, so I did that realm. And then I realized that that life was not the greatest, because I had lost my identity completely. It was stripped from me. Like I was a football guy, and it was gone. And when you lose something, it's you, whether it's a mom sending your kid off to college, or a guy that loses his job, or like anybody, like, you get an injury that changes the way you operate. You're done. Like it's not who you are anymore. So who am I? It's a big question for me. It was football. And I got to this point of navigating that and going to rebuild that in an area, which was this gym. came home, started running this gym, and then neglected my entire life outside of it. I was there 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., neglected my wife. I had 3 kids at this time. We had 2 more with twins. And get to a point where I found out my wife's having an affair. Like, my life is shattered because now my family's pulled apart. I'm out of shape, worst I've ever been in my life, but I own a gym. The gym's not doing well. 9 months in, it's damn near bankrupt. Like, I seriously was about to be evicted. Like, it's just the bottoms. And yeah, I drive off one night, looking for wreck boys, and then thankfully nothing happened. I kind of got a chance to snap out of this moment, and came back, trying to rebuild my life. Was pretty much in a fog for a couple of years. And fast forward a couple of years, it was 2014. So this happened like 2011, I want to say 2012. 2014, my mom passed away from multiple sclerosis. And so now I'm this guy that's trying to figure out, like, who in the world am I? Because a lot of us get to a foggy point and it lasts far too long. Like, I'm in this place. This sucks. I don't like this. But as long as I'm not dying, like, I'll be okay. So just we go through the motions, and I did that. And then I realized my mom passed at 47. I was like, man, at my age, like at 30, I could be here for less years than I've already been here. And it already feels fast. Like, something's got to change. And so I went through this journey of trying to navigate who I am, where I fit, what I'm supposed to do in this world. And it landed me in some unique rooms, one same as yours, Experts Academy. I was like, oh, there may be a reason for the craziness of my life. There might be a purpose for all this stuff happening. And if I could do something to honor my mom, it would be to give back to the world the way she gave me, which was super unconditional. Like, she didn't have to keep me. And I was a bad kid. Like, I was a nutso little kid back then. I'm telling you, I used to break lamps, get in trouble, but she loved me through it. So I realized that the way that I can bring myself into the world is to do the same thing my mom did, which is love people that I don't know or have blood connection to unconditionally, and navigate all these weird shifts. Because I was sitting in a room where this whole work comes to be. I was sitting in this room with a bunch of guys, and telling them I'd spent 5 years building this, speaking business. And one of the guys goes, I don't like it. I was like, what do you mean you don't like it? It's called Trust Your Hustle. I don't like it. I go, well, he goes, well, at the end of the day, there's got to be a message and a messenger. He's like, the messenger is you. The way you have a passion, a heart, what you do. He's like, you're the guy. But the message isn't the one. He's like, I know that what you've gone through is crazy. He says, you've gone through things where, like, 20 of them, whereas one of those would shut a lot of people in this room down. A lot of people in the world would navigate past one. How did you do that? I was like, I never thought about that. So I kind of went back to the drawing board and unpacked my story, the psychology, the neuroscience behind what it is that makes a human tick. And yeah, I've been since then trying to run away from the dumb jock stigma. So I have a brain, I have a perspective. I love what I do. My wife and I are back together for 3 years of me owning a lot of my shift. And yeah, so I got a really cool life. At this point, the coolest part of the life is helping other people have cool parts of their lives.
Ooh, so many gems in there that I want to ask you about. This is incredible. And you're so right. I love that he pointed out to you that you've overcome so much. And, really I had a woman on recently who wrote a book about being a conqueror, and she had overcome a lot. And it's like, you're a conqueror, right? And you forget to notice all the places, all the work you did to get where you are today, and how that actually could be a path to help other people.
Pinky finger power.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. And so, what's something I wanted to ask before I forget, you and your wife had an affair, and did you separate?
Well, yeah, we got divorced, custody battle. I had a girlfriend with me. She lived with her boyfriend for a while. It was but I think at the same time we were together at 16. So when you're together at 16, you don't know who you are. And I'm not saying that I like that it happened, but we were on a path to, like, it was going to end at some point, to be totally honest. Like, I wasn't growing, she wasn't growing. And we didn't know who we were separately. And so as much as it sucked for that being the reason that it went the route, like, I also had to accept the fact that she made a crappy choice, but she didn't get to a place of having to make a choice by herself.
Totally.
And so, that was kind of the realization I had, and it gave us some space and some time, and I grew, and I sowed my oats, we'll call it. She did her own, and we came back and realized, like, we are way better together, and no one gets me like you. And because of the growth we both went on in our own kind of separate journeys, I got to later on meet a person for the first time I'd known for 18 years, brand new human. So it's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. I wanted to point that out because I think that's very rare that people, and I get it, I got married really young as well, and I ended my relationship having an affair, and now him and I are really good friends. Like, he's one of my very best friends in the whole world, and I met him when I was 13, and I think people get surprised by that, but what happens when two people are willing to do the work and grow, then you can recover and be closer than you were before. It didn't result in me getting remarried to him, but we have family holidays and do all these great things. So it's really, to me, it's a statement and testament to your doing work on yourself and her doing work on herself. And then what a gift for your kids. How cool is that?
Works.
How old are your kids now?
My oldest is 15, man. He just turned
Okay.
his sophomore in high school. I'm an old man. I'm telling you, I'm
No,
old.
right. I have a 21-year-old. It blows my mind. I'm like, wow, this
Nuts.
is crazy.
Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
have a twins are 10. So the twins are
Okay.
10 and it's, yeah.
Okay.
So life is cool. I actually
Yeah.
enjoy being a young father. Now, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not the
me
guy that's
too.
like trying to be cool, but I have the ability to have them still see me do stuff and
Hmm.
they can be proud of dad. So it's like they get to see me on this Ninja Warrior TV show or compete in Spartan
Yeah.
races and doing stuff. It's like, oh, dad still got it. Like, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I've gotten to be really close to my kids because I had them so young. It's a huge gift. And it was hard, of course, being a young mom, but it's amazing. Okay. Which is funny. I don't talk to people about their kids all that often on the Max Potential Habits podcast. I do sometimes, but we often talk business. And, I think it's really important to bring
Part
in
of it.
the family relationship pieces. I had a guest on last week that was incredible.
Mm.
Similarly, all my guests are incredible. So there you go. I
Yeah.
want to ask you, identity shifts. When you
Yeah.
started to look back and you said you cultivated a story about how you had gone from there to that point that you were at
Yeah.
where you were out and very distraught and at the bottom. What happened for you? Tell us the process. I don't know where
Mhm.
people are at who are listening to this. Some people are
Yeah.
thriving and other people are stuck. So I
Yeah.
always like to help give people really specific tools. So what was that
Yeah.
process like for you?
Yeah, and that's one thing I've always tried to do at this point in my career. It's not just be a talker, like here's a concept, it's possible, but actually, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for me, one, everybody has the next level, right? I don't care if you're a billionaire or you are homeless. There's always a next level for you to peak up to, whether it's
Yep.
personal or financial, whatever it is. And so for me, I went back and looked, and it really was a lot of unpacking Anthony. Like, who was Anthony? How did he go through the stuff? What were you thinking then? And then try to actually research stuff that would make it make sense, right? So I'm not just talking from like, well, I did it, you can too, because that doesn't help anybody. And what I've broken it down to, we want to look at is we have like the goals for me to have success be your second nature. Like legitimately, like you just do things that have the Midas touch. And it's like, how does that person do it? Well, this is just who they are to do that kind of thing. And a lot of it is we're trying to spend time as the person we are doing things somebody else does, and it's draining. And what you have is called an identity gap. Like I'm not the person that does that thing, so I'm trying this thing and it's just not working. That's why when I want to lose weight, well, I'm going to be me, but I'm going to try to eat healthier and I'm going to try to go to the gym. Like no, eventually you just become the person who just posts yoga pants and salads all day. Like that's who you are now, and it becomes easy. It becomes effortless effort, and then you become that person where somebody says, "Well, how do you just do all that?" You're like, "It's just what I do."
Yeah.
That's there's so much power to that. And so for me, I look back at my life and found that I was just closing gaps all over the place. I was closing the gap between the guy that was, a football player trying to be a good one, but like I did the things a good football player does.
Yeah.
Because what it ends up being is, like at 15, I got to this level where I sucked, didn't want to do anything, and I was like, I had this moment in time where I woke up. I was like, I got to try to be great. I got to do these things a football player does. And really at that age, I found the secret to it all. And it was this time I put in. Like I literally went back and every single day I went to the gym, I ran routes, I was catching football. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing stuff. And the more I invested into this human, the more I got a return. What I found is what you create creates you. And so I
Mm.
was creating this stronger, more powerful football player, which then could go show up on the field. And then he would make the plays to get that internal Anthony, that self-confidence and pride and like that. I got this to the extent that I would go to bat for myself every moment that I needed to go to bat. So if it was me and you and we're going to take a stance, like I'm going to win. You don't get to win today. Like I put the work in. I show up in those moments. But if I didn't put that work in the dark, like it's not who I am. Like I might tuck back and I might get small. And so I found that over the years, like I just kept doing that in all areas. Like it just was always the way I operated. And when I look at that and apply it to somebody else, like the person listening right now, the thing is you have to get to a stance where you start investing in small ways, sucking in the beginning, but realizing the return on the investment is the self-confidence, the pride, the skill set over time. And so the actual structural processes is called see, shift, sustain. And so when you go through these three stages, you can actually make this work. And so to make this make sense for people, imagine you are the identity you are right now. And when you think about kind of like what makes you the identity you are, you have these actions you take. We talked about the effortless effort. And what happens is we don't realize, but our ego shows up in an amazing way. Everybody thinks it's like the greatest obstacle, like it's a problem, like your ego sucks. I'm like, no, like your ego's an amazing tool, right? The
Yeah.
ego's the thing that made me, show up to do my workouts for football. It's the thing that
Yeah.
makes me show up now as a great dad, my ego pops up and says, no, I'm a great dad, I'd do this. I'm a great coach, I'd do this, right? So
Yeah.
my ego shows up in the actions effortlessly because it's just me protecting who I am. So it's not a difficult thing to do, but it only happens because I, in fact, am showing up and doing that work. And if you think about it, it's what I call an ideal identity. So if you want to get to this shifting end, right? So C shifts sustains to get to an ideal identity, the perfect identity for who I am. And there's three lobes to it, like a Venn diagram. You have your beliefs, you have your thoughts, you have your actions. And what happens is if my beliefs and my thoughts, where they overlap, if they are incongruent, my mindset's weak. So if I have this belief that I'm supposed to be out there giving this amazing thing to the world, but then my thoughts keep questioning it. Well, are you? Should you?
Mhm.
Are you smart
Mhm.
enough? Like, should you ask for the sale? Like, what if they don't want to buy it? Well, my mindset's weak and I don't show up. And then it's all of a sudden like, oh man, nothing's good. I suck. It's just this weird negative cycle. Then you have where your actions and your thoughts show up. So I think I should be doing this thing and I think about doing it, but then I don't do it. I fall out of commitment. I have no habits that are good. Like, so if my habits suck, then you don't get much done. I'm not going to say you suck, but you might suck, right? If your habits suck, like it's who you are. What you do
Yeah,
is
yeah.
who you are. And then you have the one that is incredibly important that I found looking back at all my life, which I have this weird sense of like, I love this dude. And here's why. Where your beliefs and your actions show up are big. So if I believe I'm supposed to do this thing and I don't do it, I lose that little chip on the shoulder. And all of a sudden I feel like, oh man, I missed a workout today, or I didn't get that thing done. Like today I have a video I got to get done and I could easily push it off till tomorrow, but I'm like, no, I get that done. Let's go. So like I got my mind, my studios all set up because it's a 30-second video, but I got
Yeah.
to get it done, right? It's my
Yeah.
chip on my shoulder, my pride. Because when your pride and commitment comes in, that identity we're talking about that you protect with your ego, when you got that chip, like the ego shows up. Like it's like, no, we get this done. It's who I am. And I'm always making sure that that's how I flow into living my life. And so a lot of the things I do, like I'm smart about what I put in the plate and don't put in the plate so that I can always show up for myself because I don't want to look in the mirror and not like that guy. And
Yeah.
that's a big one. When they show up like and look at themselves in the mirror and they don't like that person, they don't realize what it does to affect them. So it's like I love somebody, care about them. Like you have a kid, you're gonna show up for them because you love them and you care about them. Like you just have that. But if you don't love or respect somebody, like I'm not showing up for you, man. You can't come to Thanksgiving dinner. Forget about you, right? So for me, it's like whenever you lose the commitment we just talked about, you start falling out of respect for yourself, out of love for yourself. And so you don't show up for yourself. So you don't get the workouts, you don't get the things done, you don't read the books, you don't make the calls, you don't grow the business, and you start being fearful of self. And it's a negative decline. And
Yeah.
so the work that I do is I come back to the C shift sustain and stop if you want to unpack this, but these are like the three
Mhm.
pillars of how to make this shift to be able to make success the
You're
second
rolling. I
nature.
love it. I love
That's what I do, Dave. I love
it.
this.